we are looking at accountability as a character trait for governance and leadership in Africa. And one may ask, why accountability? From the perspective of Africa, we see that most of the insurgencies that occur do because there's lack of reporting feedback that leaders don't give to their followers or their countrymen. And a typical example is what we find or we have in Ghana. When Kwame Nkrumah was the president of the country, he did many things, but he couldn't render proper accountability to the people. So the people thought he was corrupt, and the rest is history. He was overthrown, and he had to go live in Guinea-Bissau, and later he died there. So we are looking at accountability, and what is accountability? Accountability is said to be the responsibility one assumes in accepting the right to live a community in one way or another, make decisions and act in its behalf. So for one to say he's accountable means that he's answerable for his action. And these actions is either good or bad. You take full responsibility of whatever happens within the setup which is placed within your care. Either the home, the workplace, the church, and the governance of a nation. So accountability occurs everywhere, making it universal. And Africa as a continent is not an exception. And we take the root for accountability from the Bible. And Ellen White also proceeds that as human beings, we will be accountable to God for the life that He has given us. So if we are to be accountable even to God, then inversely it means that we also have to be accountable to our fellow men. So people who take up leadership embraces a responsibility of service to both God and humanity. And this calls for this character trait that we need to find in leaders. Leaders in Africa have to be accountable to people, their organizations, and the general public by being transparent, embracing responsibility, and being answerable for the actions. A leader must be can be responsible, yet not accountable. Why? Accountability is an individual held sense of duty to account to others of one's assignment. So one can say, I'm responsible, but wouldn't account for his stewardship to his constituent. And we find this in our churches, in our conferences, and in our nations. And this is what we're looking at to come out with some propositions as to how we can effectively have this character trait to help us as a continent. So the nature of the character trait expected of African leaders have engaged the attention of others over the years concerning their accountability. Therefore, another look at this issue prevailing leadership and governance in Africa is justified. And to have this dialogue, there's a need to always have a background study, and in the church setting, we cannot have a background devoid of the scripture. So there's the need to go back to the scripture and to get biblical foundations for accountability there. And when you talk of the Bible, as most of the Old Testament students and even the professor says, the Bible is the Old Testament. The NT is just an appendix. So we need to look at the OT and what it gives us about accountability. And accountability starts right from creation. It is something that God places in us to do. And right from creation, God places accountability in the center of the duty of man. Right from Genesis 1, we see, and man is shown by God as a being for accountability in leadership. And from the Hebrew word radah, which is to have dominion, to rule, which conveys the understanding of being accountable as part of humanity. So man is empowered by God to live and also to be accountable to him. Being a steward inversely means that being accountable. God entrusting all his creation to man was to place the responsibility of all creation to us, and we also have to be accountable. So we will look at some few characters in the Bible that showed this accountability in their leadership. And one key figure in the Pentateuch is what we find in Moses. Moses was entrusted with the people of Israel throughout the journey from Egypt all the way to the island of Moab. And in Numbers 13, when God wanted to wipe out the people, Moses accounted for the people and interceded for their sins. God listened to him and pardoned the Israelites. This shows that when an organization or people are entrusted to leaders, they should be accountable to both the people and God, the Creator. And also when we look at Genesis 24, this passage in Genesis 24 is quite different. Here we see a servant being lifted up to be a leader, and a mission was set out for him to go and execute. Eliezer was asked to go and find wife for Isaac, and he assumed the leadership role in this regard. And he went and did accordingly as Abraham instructed him. And after accomplishing his task swiftly and promptly, he proceeded to account for his actions and leadership. He gave an accurate report to Abraham and equally brought Rebekah to Isaac as a wife. This shows the true sense of accountability in leadership. So if we claim to be leaders in our homes, our church, our conferences, or even our nations, we need to be accountable, irrespective of the role that you are playing. And also in the New Testament, we also find several examples. Jesus Christ being the ultimate example. In the NT, we also find Paul admonishing Timothy when we read 2 Timothy, 1 Timothy 2, where Paul instructs Timothy to select leaders for the church. And at the core of the things that Timothy were to look for was accountability. So in 1 Timothy 3, 1-5, Paul enumerates the qualification for the office of the elder. At the core of this criteria is accountability on the part of the elder to his own self, his household, the church, and the general public. So the import of the requirement is to assess the capability to effectively promote accountability throughout the body of Christ. The need for accountability, as Paul indicates, the young man Timothy, goes beyond just occupying a leadership role in the church. And in this sense, all the members of the body of Christ are to emulate such a Christian character. And the gospel runs, and this concept runs through the New Testament. So we cannot say that we are God's children and we are in the church, we are leading our families, our church, and we are not accountable. And also in Ephesians 5, Paul also admonished the church of Ephesus. And in his admonition, he calls them to be submissive. And the Greek word, "hupotasao," used here indicates submission. But when you look at it in its context, in Ephesians 5:21, it can be seen as a specific exhortation to accountability. In this case, hupotasao is applied in relation to accountability to God and by extension to one another. So Paul admonished us to be accountable to God, to Christ, to our wives, to parents, to masters, and to secular authorities, and in general sense of a voluntary submission of others to the body of Christ. So in this sense, hupotasao have the idea or conveys the idea of accountability to one another. Then let's look at the African leaders' reaction and action towards accountability. There's a shift with the kind of leadership perspective that we are finding in Africa. And the shift is from God-centeredness to human-centeredness or man-centeredness, where now leaders in the church and in our various countries do not aspire to the leadership role or style or prescription of God, but we are conceited to have our own style of leadership in which it will project us and not Christ or God. So we do everything possible to make sure that we don't account to anybody, and even if we do, we account to ourselves. And in this sense, we see that many leaders in the church, or presidents in the conferences, unions, and even the GC will try to find a way to appoint people within the executive committee whom they have some sort of allegiance to them. So in order to for them to do away with that accountability in a way, they will sort of render a report to the executive committee, but in instead it is just being accountable to themselves, because the executive committee will not be able to bring them to order when their accountability is in question. So people in leadership and governance in Africa should therefore be committed to grappling with what it takes to be deeply ingrained, accountable characters relating to their relationship with God and humanity. What they value most in leadership and in life, and how they act in every aspect of life. And we've come out with some principles that will help us to be really accountable. One, the leader needs to be humble and honest about his struggles. Yes, we know some leaders are having difficulty when it comes to finance. Be open about it. Let the church help you, pray for you, and be accountable. Even when things are not right, let the people know. I misuse these funds, and I will make sure that I bring it back to where it was. Be plain and honest about the struggle. Then leaders must be patient and understanding. There's no need to come to a defensive position or equally condemning others of the action. He or she should rather maintain a spirit of acceptance of the other person, though there will be some challenges, exhortations, and even rebuke coming from leaders or followers or members. It must be done in love and with patience and acceptance. 3, the leader should guide his or her tongue. In following the biblical principle, the leader should guard against gossip and being critical on issues and others. Information and other things expressed by or to a leader must be kept in strict confidence. The constituent needs to know that they can trust the leader, so he or she must project himself or herself as such. 4, the leader must be faithful and dependable. The members must have faith in you and also have the assurance of a dependency on you for truth and sincerity. Then we've also come out with a way to improve accountability in our respective churches, conferences, and countries when we get the chance or the Lord to lead as such. 1 is to legislate a limited time of office for executive leadership positions, either in the church or countries, or limitation of number of terms of a leader, probably not more than 2 terms in office, because the longer a person stays in office, the more he thinks that he owns that position, he owns that office, and so he rather will not account for anything, because everything is his. And yesterday we heard an account of something which happened in Zimbabwe, where a pastor decided to take another wife, and when the people complained, because all the vehicles and everything are registered in his name, he said, then you have to return them. In this case, he is not accountable, and the people cannot hold him to the task of being accountable to them.
And 2, there should be asset declaration of leaders before and after leaving office. In a case where you find a conference president moving into office with, let's say, Volkswagen or Peugeot 504, and by the time of his tenure, let's say 2 terms of 6 years, he's driving a V8 Toyota. And this cannot happen in Africa, where even in the world, where the salary of the president cannot afford a V8 car. So there is supposed to be an honest declaration of assets before you enter office, and when you are exiting, you also account accordingly. Then we should elect people on merit and have a job description that should precede their election. You have to let him know his terms of reference before you elect him, and don't elect anybody. Let people on merit, people who can do the job, and not my friend, my classmates, my dear group, we from the same lane. No, such a person will not be accountable to you. Then 4, devising a way of rendering account to the constituents. In the church, there's a system that the president renders account to the executive committee or the administration due to the executive committee. There's supposed to be a way that this rendering of accountability will run through the system up to the local church member, so that the member who is contributing in tithe and offering will know that his money is being accounted for. Then 5, selection of governance bodies needs improvement and should not be carried out on face value. When we are going for sessions and constituency meetings, we need to be very careful that the people that we are electing should be people that can hold up to the task, and not just, as I earlier indicated, I know him from IAS and he was playing basketball.
Is that Henry?
Conclusion?
That's Henry.
Or Henry. God wants the African leader to accept responsibility for the outcome expected of them, both good or bad. The leaders are not to blame external factors, neither the actions of others. This is because accountability is not like responsibility that can be delegated. For God's people in Africa to progress in the governance and development assigned to us, there is a need to be always accountable to Him, God, and our fellow constituents. It is hope that African leaders may find this exposition on accountability in governance and leadership, as well as its related issues worthy of study, as accountability enables us to be in Christ. We are many form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. May God help us and be accountable to our families, our church, our conference, and to our nations. May God bless us all. Amen.